I'm going to talk about the biggest challenge we're facing as a company in terms of fraud exposure, how we're dealing with it today, and the importance of for all of us to working together. A little introduction to Ant Financial, my company. Ant Financial is a technology company dedicated to bring the world equal access to financial service by collaborating with financial institutions. There are three keywords to describe Ant Financial. First is inclusive. Ant Financial have a flagship product called Alipay, which is a mobile payment product. In 2016, it have 450 million users in China who charged over $1 trillion, which actually make China the most developed mobile payment market. And our goal is to service 2 billion customers globally in 2026. The second word is technology driven. Since its creation, Ant Financial has been using data and technology to create values for small guys. Two recent examples. One is we call cashless society. We're really working with the government and other financial institutions to really using mobile payment, mobile phone to pay everything, every public and private service, and really we wish to make cash obsolete totally. The second one is what we call face pay, which you can make a payment by just showing up and use your face. No mobile devices were needed. The last word is globalization. We're working with many local partners, particularly in developing countries, to duplicate the success of mobile payment in China and also bring the world equal access to more financial services. There are three types of fraud exposure we're facing as a company. The first is unauthorized use. Everybody is very familiar. This is where the criminals steal money from the account holder. The second one we call a financial scam, where it is the victim are deceived to give money to the criminal or suspect. Well, the third one is what we call a marketing abuse, where the fraudster gain undeserved promotional benefit by creating fake trades. As you can see from the scale, the traditional fraud as we're talking about, unauthorized use, actually is the smallest right now. It is under control after years of effort to building very intelligent risk management system, but more importantly, because it's a strong Chinese government oversight on KYC requirement, as well as the structural advantage of a mobile phone payment. We're going to focus today on the biggest challenge we're facing, which is a financial scam. In 2016 alone, it is estimated in China that all financial and telecommunication scams have reached the scale of over 100 billion yuan. It is also create large damage to stability and trust in the society. Let us look at one example of scam. Typically, any financial institution would require a re-authentication if you transfer money out of a system. And typically, one common authentication tool is sending a text message, attending a one-time passcode to your mobile phone. In this particular scam, the criminal or the suspect already has the login, username, passcode of the victim, but does not have access to the mobile phone. So what he really wants to do is to get the one-time password. How he does it? At first, the suspect will log into the victim's bank accounts and make an internal money transfer, for example, from a checking to an investment account, which typically does not require any re-authentication. Then he would call the victim. He will change the caller ID and pretending to be a bank representative. He will tell the victim that you have a suspicious money transfer out of your checking accounts. And in order to return the money to you, we're going to send you a one-time passcode. As soon as the victim releases the one-time passcode, to the criminal used the one-time passcode to transfer the money out. Very clever. Here's another example. This is actually a variation of a famous Ponzi scheme. Here the suspect is very organized. They actually established a registered company, built a real website. They actually used money to buy publicity through media advertising or social media. They lure the investor, the potential victim in by promising very high return on investment. And they even actually gave real returns to the investor in early stages, but eventually they all take the money and run away. Interestingly, Ponzi scheme has been notoriously publicized for many years. We still have a lot of people failing as victims today. As you can see from many examples, the criminals are taking advantage of the basic human nature of the victims. In the first example is the fear of losing money. In the second example, of course, the grade of high investment return. And in both cases, there's generally a lack of awareness of how the product works and what the risk is taking in a financial transaction. But also you can see the criminals are really highly organized. I have seen many examples in early presentation. They're very professional. They use the latest technology and they are capable to exploit any vulnerability in business process. And of course, right now they become more and more sophisticated and become global operations. Interestingly, we can also look at the profile of the victim as well. Actually, there are many types of financial scam. And each scam depends on the nature of the scam and the tactics or the script the criminal are using. Actually, the victims could be different. In the actually fraudulent investment scam, the victims are typically male, middle-aged, office worker, probably have some money in the accounts. In the other scenario, which I won't elaborate, it could be a stay-home mom or elderly retirees. Actually, many financial scams take place in many parts, and no one company can see all the parts. Typically, at Ant Financial, because we handle money transfer, we'll only see the money transfer between the criminal and the victim, but we know nothing else. With the limited information, we have developed a range of measures over the years. For example, starting from public awareness. Actually, we run online Alipay safety classes just to educate our users and the general public how fraud happens, how to safeguard the information. We also actually send a targeted push notification message. This is the powerfulness of a mobile phone. You can always have a channel to connect with your user, and you can send push notification message to a user who are likely victim of a certain type of scam. So very targeted campaign. Also, money transfer in China is instant right now, which is good for business, but it's bad for defense, actually. So now we also create options in our product, which allow delayed money transfer service. So it allows time to recognize and identify scams. Well, of course, we are a technology company. We have a months of data. We use data and technology to always identify transaction of high scam risk. And we're trying to put a stop on it, either by alerting the victim real time during the transaction that this transaction is very high risk, or we can also block or freeze accounts of potential suspects. And last but not the least, we're collaborating with the police closely. We have some actually unique capability to contribute to the process. We can identify suspect and the connections. We can disrupt or block illegal trades because we handle money transfer. And we can trace suspect location because they're holding a mobile device. and as well as money movement. And we have many successes in working with law enforcement agencies in China and other countries. However, as I said, financial scam taking many parts, and no one company can do this alone. And we have to put all the pieces together to have a full picture. Actually, in the last few years, both public and the private sector has increased the effort in fighting financial scam. However, it's not enough. There's still increasing trend of financial scam, and we have to do more. And we must do more to heightening awareness and strengthening collaboration and improve combating together. Actually, my group in Ant Financial, as take care of security and fraud, has a dream. We call it a world without thieves. We're not counting on people who will become more moral and then do not want to be thieves anymore. What I really want to do is make the thief's life so difficult and so uneconomical by either blocking the activity so they couldn't do anything, or help the police to catch them afterwards. So putting them under justice. And so they totally gave up trying. They just stopped trying altogether. I think with your help, with all of us working together, and this dream is possible. Thank you.